Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of This Week in Pali Football. Well, of course, you know who I am. I'm on Facebook, James. And on the other side of the intro, man, we got a wealth of just a gang of information that we want to share. Recapping the Westchester game, previewing, man, just the Venice game this week. So it's a lot going on. And we're going to look at some data as well. So it's going to kind of give us a preview of what should happen or what's going to happen on this coming Friday. So on the other side of the intro, stick around and would love to have you watch this particular episode of This Week in Pali Football.
Hey, win on me, win on three, ready, 1, 2, 3. Win! Oh, yeah! Stop playing with a beat! 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 Stop playing with a beat!
Some call it the gridiron.
Nice route, way to skim it.
Others, 100 yards of pain.
Too much.
We just like to call it football.
Football.
With Facebook James.
Football, baby.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Pali Football. This is week number 10, man. And I could just remember summertime, the 7-on-7s, the practicing, picture day, and now we are near the end of the season. Wow. I told you at the top of the season, it's going to fly. It's going to fly. And so this is week number 10, and we're in a good position. We're in a good position, but we'll talk about that in a second. If you're new to the show, people call me around these parts, Facebook James, parent volunteer with the and also one of the Pali QB board members. And so just so happy to bring you another episode of This Week in Pali Football. So like we usually do around these parts, if you're watching the live show right now, go ahead and do me a favor. Just drop a couple of comments. Say, go Pali. Hi, Facebook James. Give me a couple of thumbs up just to let me know that someone is listening on the other side. And so that will be really, really appreciative. And if you happen to watch the replay, do me a favor. You can type in hashtag replay squad or just replay squad and, just say, hey, what up, Facebook James? And, give a little love to what we're trying to do over here in Dolphin Studios. Man, I got a gang of names for everything that I do. But anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the show. So we had a wonderful, wonderful time last week, a game that we should have won. And I talked about it last week, a game that we should have won on paper. And we went over to Max Preps and kind of looked at some of the data that showed that, we should win. And we actually did. We won 40-26 against the Westchester Comets. They came over. And unfortunately, our JV squad did not have an opportunity to play. So kind of disappointed about that. We knew that earlier in the week that we knew that they were going to cancel, but they wanted to rearrange the game into Thursday. And so when Wednesday night, Thursday morning came, they canceled the game. So the JV did not have a game. However, varsity was able to take the field, and they won 40-26. Now, we're going to do some updates. And actually, let's go ahead and hop into the updates really, really quick. So, again, I always encourage people. We got one game left. And basically, this is our last regular season home game. Now, if we're fortunate enough to be in a bracket where we can host another home game, then we will do just that. But for right now, we know we have a guaranteed home game this coming Friday at the Stadium by the Sea. So if you haven't done so already, we're asking you to go ahead and register for this particular contest, either the JV Chain Gang or the Varsity Chain Gang if it's not already taken. And not only those particular slots, we have other volunteer slots that you can register for our merch, for our concession stand. And, it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to just give back and support both of our teams. If you're a JV parent, maybe you could watch or man one of those booths during the varsity game. And then if you're a varsity parent, maybe you can come a little bit early and kind of take care of the JV concessions and things of that nature. So you see the information right there, and it's something that we really, really count on and really need the assistance of our parents. So that's the sign up genius right there, and you should be able to find whatever it is that you need wherever you can serve. And so that will be really, really appreciative. And then, of course, we've been doing this week in and week out. You can go to pressandsew.com and you can get your Pali football merch. Now, from what I also understand, we have some of the hoodies and things of that nature, shirts, actually at our merch table. So you can come to the stadium and look for some of the hoodies. Now, unfortunately, the pajama bottoms, which are a big, huge hit, I believe we sold out of the pajama bottoms, but we have some of the crop tops and some of the regular T-shirts and hoodies and things of that nature. So just take some time to go over to the merch table. It will be set up in the parking lot like it was during the homecoming game. And, buy your hoodie because it is getting warm and it's getting cooler. And so now is a good time to get your Pali football merch. And so, like I said a few moments ago, we did play and we won against Westchester. So that was a very, very well-received football game. And so just happy that our team came out on top. And then this week, a couple of things are going on. And like I said, we're going to break some of the things down as well. We have our Western League final. Now, basically, there are 6 teams in the Western League. Let me see if I can remember them all. Westchester, Palisades, Venice, University, Hamilton, and Fairfax. All of those high schools make up what you call the Western League. And so now, because we're 4-0, we've won all of our games in league play, and so has Venice. Venice has won 6 in a row. We have won 4 in a row. Now we are participating in the Western League championship game. And so basically, whoever wins this game is also the Western League winner. And so that's a very prestigious accolade that, Pali wants to win. We were the Western League champions last year. And so we want to continue to do the same. And so we're trying to go back to back, if you will. And it might even be back to back to back. I'm not too sure. But we definitely want to go out and put our best foot forward and win our game. And so, maybe we can be Western League champions again. However, there's a couple of things that we have to really realize. This year, Venice has a very, very good team. They're ranked at number 2. So it's going to be an uphill climb. And so we're going to look at some of the data in a little bit. But we want everyone to come on out and participate, join in on the fun, just like homecoming. When I looked up in the stands, looked like all of the stands were filled. And so we want everyone to come out. And not only is it our Western League championship game, it is also our senior night. And so we're going to say goodbye to about 20 of our seniors, and not only our senior football players, but cheerleaders as well. So if you're a parent of a cheerleader or football player, we're just asking you to come on out a little bit early and line up. And we're going to basically salute all of the senior players between the JV game and the varsity kickoff. And so it's very, very important. Now, in times past, we've had parents who were late, who were not able to participate because, that traffic coming up to Mescal and PCH is a beast. So we really want you to plan accordingly. This is a very, very special night for our seniors. And so usually what happens, there's a picture that's taken. Usually the player presents the family, usually the mom with the rose. Why can't we get the dad something? Get the dads a football or something, man. But it's all good. And then we snap a picture. And so, like I said, it's about 20 senior football players, and I believe about almost 20 senior cheerleaders as well. So that's going to take place, and then we'll have the kickoff to the game. So it's a two event kind of evening. We're going to have the senior night, and then we're also going to have the Western League final game. And so that really gives implications for the playoffs for the following week. And so, let's go ahead and talk about that. Oh, and then also we do have, before I finish, we do have the continuation of the interview that I had with Coach AJ, who is our DB coach. And so we'll play that as well near the end of near the end of this particular show. Just want to give Coach AJ some props and, just want to finish off that interview. Last week, we were kind of rushed. I had a hard deadline, hard time where I needed to stop. And so we're going to continue to play that particular interview so that you guys can know who Coach AJ is. All right, so let's go ahead. And, before we get started, I think the best way for us to get started tonight is just to briefly recap the Pali Westchester game. So it was a wonderful game. Like I said, we won 40-26. We were unable to score in the second half, but we still allowed, the boys still won. So we have this video. So let's go ahead and run this particular video. All right, so I'm here with Sean Greer, man. You had a wonderful game tonight. You had a couple of receptions. You had a touchdown pass, man. What was it tonight like for you guys just getting out there against Westchester?
Out there, it was more of like we knew it was going to be a physical game, so we came physically prepared for this game. And we just came out in the first half, punched it right in the mouth, catching the balls, being real physical. I think that's what carried us through the game.
Absolutely. Now, I was kind of shocked that you guys were unable to score any points in the second half, man.
Yeah.
What's up with that, man? It just seems like the energy wasn't there in the second half.
I just feel like we lost focus halftime. We were up 40 points, and we just didn't think that they were coming back. I feel like the level of focus just dropped during the half. We still had it. It was just the focus, small mistakes like that, small tweaks you can make.
Yeah. I was even on the sidelines just trying to encourage some of the captains and the teammates. Like, hey, y'all need to call the run-pass play. The sideline was a little dead.
Right, yeah.
So,
that's another problem we have. Man. We
absolutely.
get more amped when it comes to us playing.
Absolutely. And then Coach Mott's talked about, and also Coach Heidi talked about focus. How you guys need to come prepared for next week. How will you prepare mentally and physically for the Western League Championship next week?
I feel like the most thing that this whole team can do as a whole is just not think about it as a rival game or a senior night game. Just think about it as another game. Because when we come out and do that, we play spectacularly, and we don't put too much weight on the game. I feel like when you don't put so much weight, there's nothing weighing you down.
Absolutely. All right, man. So next week we got Venice here. So, man, do me a favor. Don't post any more TikTok videos, okay?
I promise. I'll stay on trouble.
Just stay focused, okay? I think that's going to be the word for you guys for next week. Just stay focused.
Yeah, stay focused.
All right, man. I appreciate you. That's Sean Greer. Go ahead and, hey, man, that's Facebook James signing off. A wonderful win tonight against Westchester. And this week we have Venice. So we'll see what happens, all right? Thanks for watching. And as always, go Dolphins. Peace out. There we go. So just, a wonderful time. Sean was on fire. Him and Amari, both of them were on fire against Westchester. And then Roman LaScala, he was on fire as well. So if we had to hand out, maybe some Facebook James game balls, definitely Roman, Amari, and Sean, they were definitely, doing what they needed to do to kind of carry the team on their back. But, like you said, they lost some focus during the second half, and, was really, really shocked that they, just for me, it just seemed like they didn't have any energy. And, Westchester tried to creep back into the game, and but our defense did what we needed to do to shut them down. And so again, the final score was 40-26. And Sean knows, and also after the game, the coaches kind of reminded the team that they need to really focus. Coach Hyduke was like, "Look, some of you guys were looking at some of the girls, during during the game. Nah, don't turn your back towards the team. Keep it focused, keep it facing front, so that way, when your name is called, don't be looking behind you at the cheerleaders and the folks in the stands. No, we ain't got time for that. We gotta handle some business. Coach Moss was just encouraging the guys to be focused, be ready. Because Venice is going to bring it. They're ranked to number 2 in the city. This is probably their highest ranking in quite some time. And so they're going to, come out and play like a number 2 team. And so, there's a couple of things that, for playoff implications, there's a couple of things that can go down. So we play this game, Pali wins, right? If Pali wins, then we can be crowned the Western League champions, which is great. And then, depending on how they rank us, Cal Preps, which is one of the tools that the state uses to rank teams, depending on how well or how, what this game looks like, if we do pretty well, we might creep back into the open division spots. The top 8 teams, I believe, are in the open division. And so if we're in the top 8, then we could be invited to go to the open division. Now, if we end up losing, let me just finish the point on the open division. And so if we're in the open division, most likely we'll play one of the higher seeds in the playoff bracket. And I kind of explained everything on Friday if you're watching the broadcast. And so that's one thing, right? Last year we did play in the open division, and we made it all the way to the semifinals. And so now here's another scenario. If we don't win this particular game, not only are we Western League champions, but we might be in the Division I bracket as a high seed, right? And so, Division I is not a slouch. However, that just allows us to have more the possibility of us having more home games, maybe 2 or 3 home games at the Stadium by the Sea, because we are ranked very, very high in the Division I playoff bracket. So it's a lot of implications. And so let's go ahead and, kind of dissect what happened in this particular ball game. So we have here we go. All righty. So we have the box score. Let me go ahead and put some music on. I like to hear some music in the background, just a little bit. So let's kind of break down this particular game. We'll look at the box score, and again, the final score was 40-26. Palisades won. And if we look at the box score, there's a lot of information that we can use to take away. And then we'll also do the same thing with Venice as well, in an effort to preview this particular game. So let's kind of talk about our team. So Westchester did not enter any of their stats for their players. And so our coaches have entered some stats. And so, again, you can always go over to Max Preps, and you can check out the Palisades football program. You can sign up for a free account for yourself as a parent, and you can even follow your kids. If your kids have, if your kids are part of the team, if your son is a part of the team, you can even follow them. So let's kind of look at the passing for Pali. Roman Lascala was 14 of 23 for 244 yards. He had a wonderful night. 3 touchdown passes, and his longest pass was 56 yards. So pretty good for Roman. Just happy that he kind of stepped up and, kind of performed similarly to how he performed against University in terms of yardage. I believe He had 2 less touchdowns in this game. In the uni game, he had 5 touchdowns, and so this one, he just had just 3. Okay, and then rushing, we have Chris Washington. He had 18 carries for 91 yards. Averaging 5 yards a carry, which is awesome. And then he had 1 rushing touchdown. Xavier had 12 touches for 55 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry. And then even Roman tried to get in the books with rushing 3 times for 9 yards. And so, but he also scored a touchdown, and so that was pretty cool as well. And then receiving is where we kind of break down and see some of the goats of the game. Amari Yolis, he had 4 receptions for 124 yards. And it looks like he averaged about 31 yards a catch, which is great. He has that amazing speed, and once he catches the pass, he's gone. Those green gloves, they secure that ball, and he's downfield. And so he was able to get 2 touchdowns this past Friday. Chris Washington, 1 reception for 1 yard. Braden Sanford, 1 reception for 4. Sean Greer, another standout in this particular game. He had 6 receptions for 102 yards, 17 yards per catch, and he also had a touchdown as well. And then Jaden Williams, who I believe used to attend Westchester last year, he switched his number from 86. Now I believe he's wearing number 10. And so he had 2 receptions early in the game for 13 yards. And so that was pretty cool. You see the all-purpose yards right there. Amari Yolis, 124 yards. And then looks like he had 7 yards on a interception return. Marcus Brown Jr., he had 21 yards on a kick return. We already talked about Xavier. We already talked about Chris and Roman as well. So just a wonderful game for our boys. And, we have some weapons. They're out there doing what they need to do to get the job done. And if we look on the defensive side of the ball, because we're always focused on the offense. So let's look at some of the tackles. Tackling is a wonderful measurement that we can look at. So Amari Yolis had 5. Marcus Brown Jr. had 6. All of our guys are just doing wonderful in the field, just making sure they get the tackles. So Xavier Riley had 7. Javon Alexander had 7. Leo Velez, he had 2. Evan Nirenberg, he had 2. Let's drop down to Jabari Williams. He had 5. Jake Tribach, he had 8. Let's see, Jesse Edis, he had 9. So our boys, and we have a lot of players who have 1 and 2 and 3 tackles. So they all contribute once they get out there on the field. And then we had Evan Nirenberg, who had 1 sack. And then we talked about the interceptions for Amari Yolis and the interception for Xavier Riley. So it's just a wonderful night, and hopefully the boys can continue to do what they need to do. And then, I just want to highlight Braden Sanford as well. He punted 6 times, and he had 1 good one. That was, I heard one of the coaches say, man, that was a D1 kick, Division I kicks. And so, or punt. And so that was, awesome job by Braden stepping up to the plate and doing what he needs to do to punt the ball off. And so that's kind of the breakdown for the Westchester game. And so if we look at, let's see if we can go ahead and look at our upcoming opponent. And it looks like we have some players of the game as well. So let me scroll down and so yes, we have several players of the game. I guess the coaches have selected these players to be the players of the game. So we have cornerback Amari Yolis, the offensive player of the game. And then we have Jake Tribach is the defensive player of the game. And we just talked about him having 8 tackles, I believe. And then we have Braden Sanford. He's a wide receiver, but he's a special teams player of the game. And then the overall player of the game was Roman Lascala with 244 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and I believe it was 14 of 24. So good job, fellas. And let's see if we can preview this particular game coming up against Venice. So let's go over here, full schedule, and here we go. So preview. So let's click on it real quick. So as you can see, both teams are 7-2. Not only are they 4-0 in league, but they're 7-2 overall. Let's kind of break down. Let's get into the data. So it looks like scoring averages per team. Venice is scoring about 28 points per game. Palisades is averaging about 36 points per game. So on paper, if we're calculate on paper, we should we could win, right? Based on just the point total alone. Okay. Let's see if we can get into a little bit deeper. Let's go with the data. All righty. So here, Venice is rushing 95 yards per game. Pali is rushing about 160 yards per game. Okay, so that's a check for us. Passing yards per game. Venice 201. Passing yards for Pali 179. So that would be a check for them. Total yards per game 296.7, and Palisades 340. So that would be a check for us, if you will. Tackles per game is kind of even, but they have a slight edge. They're averaging 58.4 tackles a game. We're averaging 55.0, or just 55 tackles per game. Sacks per game, we're winning that battle 2.9 as opposed to 1.1. Points per game, as we said a few moments ago. Now, so here's where Max Prep is kind of crazy, because just a few moments ago you saw that the points per game for Venice was 24. Now over here it says 43.2, and then for us it has 36.7. So I'm not too sure if we just scroll back up. So Palisades, again, 36.9 points per game, and then Venice is scoring 28.4. So I'm not too sure what the deal is, what the discrepancy is. But let's look at some of the team leaders. For rushing, Christopher kind of wins that handily. Their passing leader for Venice, Paul Kessler, he's averaging 195 yards. Roman Lascala is 146. So total yards per game, 195 for Paul and 145 for Roman. And tackles per game, Xavier, he's averaging 6.4. Cody Primer, 8.8. Romeo and Dylan, looks like, we kind of get them a little bit. And then points per game, Paul is averaging 15.3, and Christopher's averaging 7.5. So, a lot of, here's the breakdown overall. So again, both 7-2. We're 4-0 in league, 3-2 in non-league. Head-to-head, we haven't played this year. And it's unfortunate that Max Prep doesn't keep the yearly head-to-head contest. That would be so awesome to kind of see. Now, at one point, Venice had beaten us 16 times straight. And I believe in 2016, we won, and we kind of started a tradition of winning against Venice. So for the past few years, I think we've gotten them, more times than they have gotten us. So we'll see. It's going to be a really, really good game this coming week, and so we just encourage everyone to come on out and be a participant. It's going to be a heavy-hitting, high-scoring game, I think. And if our team can just focus, I think that is the word. If our team can focus and have a good week of practice, I know the coaches said that they were going to do everything that they can to, put them in the position to win. And so all they have to do is execute. Remember their blocking. Remember the different running routes. And really be focused. Come in here focused. And I was kind of jiving with Sean earlier in the post-game interview about his TikTok, and so there was a TikTok, I guess, that he had posted something about Venice, and so I was just like, hey dude, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it was poke at the Venice gondoliers, and so we really don't want them to do that. We really want the kids to focus and really be prepared for a wonderful game. It's going to be a hard-fought game, and they have to think about how they can score points in the second half. And so for me, that's just one of my observations. Hopefully they can capitalize and do what they need to do. and just play hard. So it's like this particular game is a catch-22, right? You want to win, but if you win, you might have the possibility of being in the open division. If you lose, then you might have there's a possibility of us hosting several home games. So I just want the boys to put their best foot forward. Of course, I want to win. Here's what I want. I want to win, and then be in the best bracket where we can compete. And so, I've kind of talked about that on my live stream, and so on Fridays. And so, hopefully, kind of where I stand. And again, my position is only my position. I haven't talked to any of the coaches in terms of how they feel, where they want to, where they want to be. And this is only one man's opinion of where I think our team would be best suited. So that's what it is. Okay. All right. So we've kind of done all of that, and we're going to get ready to hop into our interview with Coach AJ. Again, we had about I think we were in about eight or 9 minutes last week, and so we'll run the continuation of that particular video, and then after that we'll come back and close out the show. So let's see if we can pick up where we left off with Coach AJ.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm here with Coach AJ. Coach AJ, just observing you guys, just kind of interacting with one another. And it's great to have someone who kind of thinks the same way that you think. And, of course, you guys, dealing with the DBs and the linebackers, you guys definitely have to be in sync, because if not, then the schemes are not going to work that you guys want to put in place.
Correct. Yeah, Jeremy and I talk a lot, and I think that's something that a defensive coordinator, a DB coach, a D-line coach, everybody who's an intricate part of the program, they need to communicate. And I mean, that's what we teach our kids. That's what we want to teach our kids. Is communication is key at every single level. I know that there's times where there's bitterness, but communication can actually kick that out. I mean, we might get in tiffs of what I might think is here. I mean, not necessarily me and Jeremy. It could be me and Coach Hyduk. It could be Coach Hyduk and Reed. It could be all of us together, not really understanding what we're doing. But as long as there's communication, and it's an open communication, we're all striving for the same outcome. So I think that we as a team, we as a staff are heading in the right direction. And I look forward. This is my first year, and I look forward to many more.
Yeah, so let's talk about your first year, man. I mean, you were hanging out with the summer during the 7-on-7s, and we've come. This is week number 7, I believe, and so you're almost near the end of your first year. Just kind of tell us some of your impressions. Of course, we can't talk about what happened last year because you weren't around, but kind of tell us, just you working with the coaches and the kids, and just kind of tell us your overall experience with working with the kids from Pali.
Yeah, the overall experience has been fantastic. Little did I know that we have some kids that are getting bussed in, that are getting riding trains in. Ones that are driving so far, like things like that, man. That's admirable. That's something that that they want to go to a good school. They want to have a good education. They want to play for a great program. And there's a lot of times where I didn't see that in any of the other schools that I was at. It was like football was just my dad told me I had to play, so I had to play. I mean, there was this first year that I have right now has been it's been amazing in all aspects of the game. The coaching staff, the way that, like I said before, the way that we communicate, the way that the things that we're on the same page, the things that we're writing on the board, the things that we discuss right before games, after games. I mean, it's definitely something that's up there. And then with the kids as well. I haven't really had a great amount of shutdown corners and shutdown DBs and young linebackers like we do right now. But it's amazing to watch, and it's a great. I guess you could say it's amazing like I said, it's amazing to watch, and I look forward to the other kids that are coming up that are actually watching the kids now. I know Marcus is 1 in a million. Savior's 1 in a million. Those are going to be those guys that are going to be tough to replace. But I think that people want to follow in their footsteps, and I think that this program is going to live on and keep doing what it's doing.
Absolutely, man. Let's we could talk about specific players, man. So last week or a couple of weeks ago, um, you know, we played Hamilton. Just man, can you just tell me, or just from your observation, just the impact that Marcus Brown Jr. had on that game, and just what he kind of went through that whole week prior to playing Hamilton. I mean, because when I asked him after the game, post game, he was like, "Hey, I had McDonald's for for breakfast, but this could maybe just kind of let us in because him playing that game, those first 3 touchdowns in the first 6 minutes of the game, awesome. Never seen anything like that in high school football in my life. So maybe just give us some insight into what you see every day of practice with Marcus Brown Jr.
It's funny because like that's the thing with Marcus. Marcus doesn't say a lot. I mean, if he says a lot, man, it's to Javon. It's like those two are two peas in a pod, man, and you can't separate it, man. You got MJ. That's what Marcus wants to be called from now on is MJ, and then you got J5 who's Javon, and then you got J2 who's Jabari, and you got all these crazy nicknames, but. Marcus he's in his own world, and sometimes with certain players, that's the way you need to let him go. I trust in my DBs until it's time to not trust in them. I think that's the way that I've been. That's the way that I've coached. That's the way that I've learned from it is that I trust you to do what you're going to do as long as there's a reason why you're doing it. And it's a good reason, and I think that's what comes from Marcus, man. It's like Marcus has got that football mentality. He might not be the best practice guy, and I'm not dogging on him. Is that that's not one of his strong suits, but he is a gamer. When it's time and he has that flip the switch, man, that's where he's at.
Yeah.
And you know what? And he does it, and he flips his own switch, and it's not me flipping it for him. It's not Coach Reed. It's not Coach Hyduke. You know what it could be? Could be the lights. Could be the Friday night lights. Man.
Absolutely.
Switch it on for him. And some people are like that, and I believe that he is like that. He's a gamer. He doesn't really care about anything else that's going on. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You care about what's going on the football field. And I think that's where Marcus comes in. That is unbelievable. 3 touchdowns. And we praise it to him all the time, and he is a wonderful player. And I hope that he gets a chance to go play in college. And I think he should have that opportunity. The only thing I would say about him is just got to, change that practice mentality, man, because, they're going to look at that. They're definitely going to look at that. So, but no, we talking about certain players, man. Marcus is a 1 in a million guy.
Yeah, no, I was just really, impressed with the way that he came out and, caught the first touchdown pass and then, had the scoop and score and then caught another touchdown pass. And I think he even had an interception later on in the game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so he was just all over the place and just so happy and excited about his progression from last year. Even though last year he led the team in interceptions, but still, this year he's playing his heart out, especially the past few games. And so just kind of wanted to ask you, just give us some background. As they say, spill the tea, if you would.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, he had a phenomenal game. But let's go ahead. I kind of want to talk about your coaching style. Now, how did you pick up on coaching DBs? Was it? I mean, did you go to like the DB College University of coaching, or did you just kind of pick it up from playing the game yourself and then just kind of being involved with others who kind of know how to coach that particular position?
Yeah, I would say being involved with other people. I had a great kind of mentor at one of my coaches at one of my schools in New Mexico. His name was Heath Bevins. Him and I actually went to New Mexico State together. He never played there. He played for a small school in Kansas, but him and I were really good friends. And then he's the one that got me a job in New Mexico. And I think right when I got there, I just completely changed my whole overall look and my whole style of coaching, man. Like you said before, my style of coaching is pretty much just like in the classroom. I may use some different words at times, or I may raise my voice a little bit more than you would in a classroom. But as long as I get my point across, that's where we understand. Teaching is the main part of it. And as long as the kids can understand from a certain perspective, man, that's the way it goes. But yeah, that's where I learned, man. I will credit a lot of things to Sandia High School. Sandia High School in New Mexico gave us the opportunity to travel and go to football clinics. I had the opportunity to go into Georgia, Notre Dame, um, Michigan. God, what were a couple other ones that we decided to go to, which is like we go during the spring ball, and then we also go in and you sit in with all the coaches, and you actually discuss certain schemes, certain coverages, certain things like that. So I just got really dedicated to going to these clinics, man, and I believe it helped me out a lot. I got to listen to Urban Meyer speak, Brady Hoke at Michigan. I mean, it was dude, it was Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. I mean, just listening to these guys who are great mentors of us speak and talk and um, encourage us to do the right things as well. It was amazing. So I believe that's where I got a lot of my coaching style from. A lot of people may not agree with it, but for the time being, I believe that I'm a fair coach, and I know that we are heading in the right direction, and I like to take us there.
Absolutely. No, and we've had conversation, just kind of briefly in passing, about, I just love the way, you coach, your coaching style, because you're teaching, you're trying to make corrections, have the guys see what they need to see to make the adjustments and become better. And it just is really reminiscent of a teacher in the classroom, doing their thing, whether it's English or math or science or history, whatever the case might be. But in this case, it's football, and so obviously you don't have a chalkboard out there where you or a whiteboard where you can kind of dial up and show the guys, but just your description and having the kids, kind of imagine what should happen next if they're here or there. It really reminds me of that of a classroom teacher. And I even think that you said that one time you wanted to be a teacher. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I went to school for. Was secondary education. Yeah, that wasn't that's what I went to school for, but obviously that's not the path that I've taken. And that happens to the best of us. So yeah, I mean, in a coaching situation, I don't find it very positive, or very the outcome's gonna be there that I want if I scream and I yell and I throw and I get things pissed. I get so pissed off that I got to pull somebody right away. No, you need to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. I'm
Yeah.
going to teach you how to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you how the technique that you should have, the eyes that you should have, the stance that you should have, the coverage that you should be in. That's what I'm here for. That's what I got hired to do is teach those certain things. I could get mad and throw things and stuff like that, but I don't feel like that's productive. Next play, what's going on? What happens? It's a touchdown. Cool. Next play.
Yeah.
That's the way that it's supposed to be, because you can't take that back. So let's fix the problem that happened.
Absolutely. No. And, like I said, just watching you over the summer, having that interaction with the boys, making adjustments, on the fly. And it wasn't, like you described, you flying off the handle. You're like, hey, no, this is what he did. This is what you should have done, right? And here's on the flip side, you're always congratulating the guys when they do something big, when they make a big play. So it's not just one way. Hey, you're not doing this thing the way that you should be doing. No, you're giving accolades when they make a good hit, right? And you're trying to coach them up if the play that they made was not the correct decision, where it might have caused a touchdown for the opposite team.
That's right. I mean, it could have caused the problem, but there's nothing that you can do about that except for teach them. If you leave it and you pull them out, and you don't talk to them and anything else like that, it's not helping them, and that's not what we're here for. We are here to help. We are here to teach. As you know, like as coaches, like this is not our job, man. We're not getting paid thousands and thousands of dollars to do this, man. It's like we're getting paid gas money.
Yeah.
That's what we get paid. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. I'm cool with that's worth it. So let's teach these kids the best way that we know how, the best way that we got taught. And constructive criticism is great, but we got to be able to teach them and pass on what we have,
Absolutely.
and not get so upset at everything else that's going on. So.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, that's wonderful, man. I love to see you coaching the boys up, and I can tell that they've made progress. Like I said, I don't want to call any names, but I'm just gonna call one name, Jabari. I'm gonna call Jabari,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And I've just seen him, 7-on-7. And again, that was a new relationship, with you, trying to know who they are and what their skill set is, and they're trying to understand who you are and what your skill set is, and so just to see the maturation from the 7-on-7s to early in the preseason all the way to now, I think he kind of has a lot more confidence than he had at the beginning of the season.
Yes, that's a great point, man. I'm glad you mentioned that guy because Jabari has definitely stepped up, and he stepped up in every way that he possibly could. He's a very timid guy. He didn't really know where he was going to fit, and I told him from the beginning of the season that he's the one that's there every day. I said you're going to play. I love the questions that you ask because that's amazing. You ask him the right way. You're very polite towards him. Towards the questions, you ask them the way that they're supposed to be asked, and I think he's going to be phenomenal coming the next year as well. He's playing out the rest of this year. He's going to be playing safety on Friday night. He's going to be playing corner on Friday night. I tried to install a little bit of confidence in him. When we were at the university game, I threw him out there to go return a punt, and that didn't work out very well. But you know what? That's the whole point, man. You cannot give up on a kid. You cannot just say this because then all of a sudden, then they're never going to have that confidence. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It starts. You want to say it starts with the kid, but a lot of times it starts with the coach having that confidence, man. Just saying you can do it.
Yeah.
That's it. You can do it. And you know what? If you don't do it, don't worry about it. We're all right.
Absolutely. And that was a wonderful way to kind of immerse him in that situation because you guys were probably up by a large amount and say, hey, let's see what some other guys can do at some other positions. And so what better way to get him acclimated to that situation than to put him right smack dab in it? I mean, that's the only way you're going to learn, right?
That's right. Again, going back to what you were talking about, going over like spring ball and 7-on-7 and when you were like, oh, I'll mention one name, I'll be like, I'll mention another name. I'll mention Xavier. I think I used to call Xavier for a good 2 months, and then finally he was like, Coach, it's Xavier. I was like, damn. Okay. All right, I got it, man. And then I was calling Marcus Jabari and then Jabari,
Right.
Javon and
Right.
everything else like that. But you know what? I caught on. I finally got it, man. That was all my fault. I got a great group of guys, man. I couldn't ask for anything better. I got a great group of kids, and they're not to mention are they good football players, man? I think they got great characteristics, man. They're good characters on and off the field, man. And that's a fun part for me.
Absolutely. No, it's fun for us being Pali supporters and parents, seeing them progress and like I said, mature and rise up to the occasion. And so I think our team is so lucky to have such a coach like you to interject wonderful techniques that they'll need to use on Friday nights. And so we really appreciate you. At least I do. Just seeing how well you coach, how well you relate to the kids. And, it seems like it's working because they listen to you, they make adjustments during the game, and, they're doing what they need to do. And I think they're gaining confidence every single week under your tutelage, if you will.
No, I appreciate that. I definitely I'm having fun, and I think they are responding the way that they're supposed to respond. You know,
Absolutely.
and when you get kids to do that, man, you know, it makes the makes everything that much better. You know,
Yeah.
if they respond the way that you want them to respond, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean because the whole intent is to have fun, and so
That's right.
I think they are having fun with you as their coach. So
That's right, man. You got to instill that. Football's fun.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
this isn't just go out there and do it because somebody else said you had to do it or whatever. Go have fun. You know, you're gonna get hit. You know, you're gonna get a good hit.
yeah,
You know, you're gonna drop a pass. You're gonna catch a touchdown. There's so many different variables that are gonna happen. As long as you're having fun with it and you learn, it's gonna be a good outcome, whether you win or lose.
absolutely. Now let me ask you, since you talked about coaching, uh, are you coaching Matthew Spoonermore? Is he one
Uh,
of yours?
yeah, I got little spoon.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
okay, that's
yeah.
a good thing because I just want to.
Yeah, Little Spoon's playing. He's playing dog for me.
Hey,
Basically, which is a outside linebacker. Go ahead.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say because that hit that he had during the Hamilton game was like spot on. It was
That's
just
the way you're supposed to do it. And I think that's the that. I'm glad that he listened, man. It's like we're going over and over and over again, and I remember this over the spring ball like crazy about cover two technique. And cover two technique is ride number one until you see number two, and that's exactly what happened. And he planned it, and he did it exactly. That was textbook down to the
man.
it was perfect about how he did it. And yes, that was a great hit.
It was a great hit. It was kind of like it wasn't. It was violent, but it wasn't too violent, right? I think
Yeah.
and then I love the way he kind of just stood over and just like, "What up?"
That's right.
I
That's
just gave
right.
him that look, man. It was so perfect.
That's great. Sometimes it's that swagger too that the kids have to have. It's like you don't need to talk with your mouth, man. You talk with your pads, and that's the way
Absolutely.
it's supposed to be. That's old school. That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
That's the way it continue to should forever.
yeah,
Continue to talk with your pads, man. Don't talk with your mouth because it doesn't do anything for you. Nobody's
absolutely.
threatened by your mouth, man. They're threatened by your pads.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Show us what
um,
you can do.
that's right. Show us what you can do. I've met some of the best football players, man, that don't say a word.
Yeah,
You know, and that's great. And Spoon's a pretty quiet kid. I mean he's funny too. We got him on every single special teams. Out there, and he rises to every occasion that's asked of him. I think he does a really good job.
absolutely, absolutely. So just a few more questions for you, man. So since you played at, and I know Xavier rides you all the time. Since you played at New Mexico State, and we have an affiliation with the University of New Mexico, and this weekend happens to be the Rio Grande rivalry, I guess it's called.
Yes, it
Um,
is. And it's the I-25, the Rio Grande rivalry. Yes, I-25 goes from Albuquerque all the way down to Las Cruces, and that's the end of New Mexico right there. Yeah, it's a big rivalry for sure.
yeah. So tell us about maybe one or two of your favorite memories participating in that rivalry game.
Oh, there was I want to say it was probably 1997 or 1998. New Mexico State beat UNM down in Las Cruces, man. And that was one of the first times I'm trying to remember exactly what the score was, but that was the first time that we tore down the goalpost.
Oh wow.
And tearing down the goalpost down there was definitely a big thing. Las Cruces wasn't very many. We had the time that I went to school there, we only had 17,000 kids.
Okay.
It wasn't a very big city. It was very tiny. It was a border town kind of type, and football wasn't necessarily on the map. But yeah, that's a big one that sticks out with me. I will tell you one of the other fun, I guess you could say, crazy ones. I didn't travel for this game at all, but it was a game that we actually played against Texas. It's always those money games.
Yeah.
That UNM has, New Mexico State has.
Yeah.
You're always traveling somewhere, and Ricky Williams ran for. We traveled down to Texas, and I think Ricky Williams ran for like 232 yards in the first half.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the score was 67 to 6 or something like
Wow.
that.
That's crazy.
But yeah, those are those memories that just kind of stick out in your mind. But I again too, like there's a big part of me that loved, loved Las Cruces. It was a small town feel. Everybody went to the games, whether we were winning or not. You know, Tony Samuels was a great coach. My DB coach down there was Bill Bush. Bill Bush is he's a phenomenal coach. He's been all around. He coached at LSU for the championship team. He was a DB coach at LSU. He coached at Wisconsin. I think now he's back at Nebraska. Every coach that coached that were my coaches at New Mexico State all came from Nebraska.
Gotcha.
Tony Samuels used to play. Yeah, he played from Nebraska. Barney Cotton played for Nebraska. Everybody did, and that's where they all came from. But yeah, I mean, memories down there, man, they were definitely fun. I definitely played against some pretty tough boys. I'm not gonna lie. I was third string DB, but I didn't really care. I won. At Hastings, I won Scout Team Player of the Year. At New Mexico State, I won Scout Team Player of the Year. And that's what I pushed that on to some of my kids too, man. Playing Scout Team is one of the funnest times you're ever going to have.
Absolutely.
You get to do whatever you want to do. You get to get everybody else ready for the next game, and it was fun.
Yeah. No. Everyone wants who plays, or I'll just say a lot of kids who play high school, and they want to play at the next level. They're gonna, you might be the top man on campus on your small, high school or whatever. But when you get to, D1, D2, it might be a little bit different because you might have some bigger boys who might play harder, faster than you. And so you kind of have to find your way. And so playing on the scout team is still, you're still a contributor to the team. You might not be, first string or whatever, but you're still contributing. And here's the kicker. If they're paying for you to go, then what's up? You go ahead and get that education.
That's right.
In the same way that they're using you, you should use them as well. It's like, tit for tat, right?
That's right. That's right.
Get your best life going on. Make the best of the squad. What team? The scout team.
Scout team, yeah.
And do your thing. If you happen to get promoted to the second team, crazy good. If you get to the first team, even better. But if you're on that scout team, man, make a name for yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, scout team. When do you ever get a chance to blow up people that actually could be in the NFL? Tim Englehart played for us, man. He actually played for Minnesota Vikings, man. It was like when he used to pull, I'd go hit him as hard as I could. I might not have done a lot, but I go hit him. And when can you say that? Like, dude, I could see him in the NFL, and hey, I hit him. Yeah. I got him a couple times. Absolutely. Kenton Keith played tailback for us, man. He played for the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
And I'll never forget how hard I hit him a couple times. But I mean, those are memories that are going to stay with you forever. And who cares? Doesn't matter if I really got on the football field as many times as I did. It doesn't matter. I still had a blast doing what I did. And that's the kind of thing that I just instill in the players and just tell them, hey, even if you get somewhere you're going to go play. If you're going to go walk on, make the best of what you got. Whether it's one play or 50, who cares?
Absolutely.
Who cares?
Absolutely. No, that's a word right there, Coach. And just ball out. Just ball out.
That's right.
And if you make this, scout team, whatever, just do what you need to do, and you'll be recognized. So
that's right.
It is what it is. So a couple of things. One more question before we finish up. I think we kind of went over my time, but you being a DB coach, let's just say we had a crystal ball, and we had just some extra dollars just kind of stashed away, right? What do you think? Maybe one or two things that you would like to have as a DB coach at Pali that would make your coaching life, or not even yours, just the coaching staff, what would make it a little bit better? If you had like a wish list and you're like, hey, rub the genie and it happened, what would you want to wish from that genie, that football genie?
That football genie. One of the biggest wishes that I had would be would be a clean, good weight room for the kids. I think that's a big one. Like I said, this is my first year here, and coming down and walking down the hill and just seeing all the weight room outside is just not, it's not very appealing, and that's just not something that's gonna bring kids. And I know that kids transfer in, they transfer out, whatever. And kids nowadays want certain things like that. I think having a weight room and having a locker room down on the football field would be amazing. I think that would go a long way. Having a coach's office down there, doing certain things for the kids. Man, it's like the kids want a place to go. Right now, they put all their stuff in a bag. They throw it in the coach's office, which is a trailer. They hope for that nobody takes anything. It's just that right there, man. If I was wishing for something, I don't need anything necessarily for me. I think just being able to help out these kids is where I would love to rub that lamp. Having that weight room, I'd love a one-man sled. I think a one-man sled would let us tackle. The technique would be a lot better. That would be on my wish list as well. That's not necessarily for me. That's just for kids.
For the kids, right?
I know we got the tackling donuts. I like that, but dude, a one-man sled goes a long way. And I think that we should be able to pull that off. It's not very much money, but where it should start, like just to be honest with you, coach, is that I think that we need to provide these kids with a locker room and a great weight room. Because once we get that weight program down, we're going to look like a better team. We're going to be bigger, stronger, faster. And that's going to be better for our future.
Absolutely. No, it's spoken like a true coach, not thinking about himself, but thinking about the coaches and the players that are a part of the football team there. So, we really appreciate you hopping on, man. And, maybe, Secret Santa or, the genie in the football bottle can make something happen for our football program. That'd be so awesome. But, Coach, I just want to say thank you for hopping on tonight, man. I think it was time well spent. I know your family are. I know they're fans of the show, and even your little son. Just happy to see him running around as well. I noticed that you were in a boot a couple of weeks ago, and you said it was because of you were trying to catch some passes or something with him.
Yeah, it's messing around with that kid, man. He's all over the place, but it's chasing him, and then he wants to throw the football around and stuff like that, which is I love to see that. And yeah, I was in a boot. I shouldn't have taken it off, but I'm fighting through it, man, and it is what it is, But yes, my family is. We love your family. We love the Pali family. This is something that we have been looking forward to for a long time, and my wife is just as excited as I am, and so is my son. So,
absolutely. Well, we hope you stick around, for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and just continue to make a major contribution to, the defensive scheme for the Pali football program and for the Pali football community in general. So appreciate you hopping on, my man. And, we'll see you on the sidelines this coming Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So there goes Coach AJ, and just a wonderful dude. And if you missed the top half of the conversation, I liken his coaching style to that of a classroom teacher. And he even said that when he was in college, he thought that he was going to be a middle school teacher. And so immediately, when he first stepped, his first couple of days out, I was just like, okay, his teaching style is not the regular, and not saying that all of our coaches at Pali are ranting and raving, no, but his teaching style just stood out to me, partly because he's actually, he was trained as he went to school to be a teacher. So I just kind of recognize that, there's a saying that says game recognizes game. Well, yeah, I recognize his game where to the point that he invests his time in the kids, and he teaches his kids the different defensive schemes as if he's a classroom teacher. So, thank you, Coach AJ, again for hopping on and just kind of sharing your thoughts, your philosophy on how you coach and how you relate to the boys on the football team. So really, really appreciate it. All righty. So I think our time is up. But for those of you who who just kind of peeped in, and let me just kind of recap this week's game. This week's game is against Venice High School, and so again, I have some of the stats here. I'm not going to go through everything, but we really want everyone to come out because it's going to be an amazing time. It should be an amazing time. We have senior night in between the JV and the varsity game, so that's number one. Number two, where the varsity team is playing for the the Western League championship. And so as you can see right here, the win-loss is about the same. Our overall record is about the same. Scoring is kind of close. On one chart, Pali, they have Pali, Max Preps has Pali as winning, in terms of, how many points we score per game. And so Palisades, we score about almost 37 points. Venice scores about 28 points per game. And then down here a little bit further, let's see. I think it was this graphic right here, points per game. It says Venice scores 43 points per game, and we score 36 points per game. So I'm not too sure which graphic you want to believe, but just know that it should be a wonderful, wonderful game this coming Friday. So we encourage everyone to come on out, be a participant in our crosstown rivalry game against Venice. And I believe there's even a volleyball game against Venice as well. So this week is definitely rivalry week. The two high schools can't really stand each other. But as people, hopefully they can get along. But definitely once we're on that field, all the pleasantries are gone away, and we're trying to win. And so, and they're trying to win as well. So, it's going to be a wonderful time. Let's dig in these comments real quick before we close out the show. And I've been seeing people pop in and out. And so Riley says, great to have you, Coach. And then she was responding to just Coach AJ's presence on the live. And I believe Riley also said K. And usually that's followed with the Venice K. So she's saying, basically, we don't like Venice that well. And then Lisa Hudson says, thank you. Great info and nice to meet the coach. So, Lisa, thank you for watching and really appreciate you. Maybe, we look for you to come on out and support our team this coming Friday. Again, this coming Friday, as far as I know, JV team, that game will go off at 4 o'clock. And then we have the presentation of our seniors night, both about 20 varsity football players and about 20 varsity cheerleaders. Man, that's a large senior cheerleading team. And then we'll have at 7:30, we'll have the Western League championship game at the Stadium by the Sea. The tickets can be found and purchased on gofan.co. We'll put some information on our social media so that way you can just, click on the link and purchase your tickets. And let's see if we can fill up the stands. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful night. And so I believe that's all the time I have. I really, really appreciate you watching. And, do me a favor. When you come to the game, shout me out. Be like, hey, what up, James? What up, Facebook James? I saw you on the live. And, just kind of make that connection. All right. Anyway, I am done for the night. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on Friday. And as always, go Pali. Good night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Hey, win on me, win on three, ready, 1, 2, 3. Win! Yeah! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P!